This morning, after the round 8 of the VFS and the FS, we're going to be moving into the Freestyle Junior. So that starts at 10:55, and then we've got, again, a full day of action right the way through to 9 p.m. But the big story is today's the first time we get to look at the freestyle flyers, the juniors and the seniors as well. Are you going to be watching a bit of that, guys?
I'm excited. Anna's told me to watch out for a few different people. I'm really excited to see what people have to offer.
Yeah, we've just had some glimpses from the US Nationals of some of those routines and absolutely beautiful, fantastic flying. So what have you guys got coming up next?
We got back to FS. We got FS female starting off. So the next round, if I'm not mistaken, 7GK19, same numbers and letters as the VFS. Very different skydive.
Very different, and we could have some different randoms taken and maybe different block technique. We could have the shorter 19 that you mentioned, Pete, before.
Yeah, so again, I'm kind of excited to see what teams have to offer us on this option. The 7, we got 2 different ways we can do the block. G and K, I think, is going to be standard. You never know. There's a couple of different options there available. But the 19, so at the end of block 19, our team's going to take the short 19, giving a slot switcher for the point and outside center, and that easy move into the 7. Let's see what people have to offer.
I have memories of G to K, and I don't like G to K as a move.
So just looking at NFTO dirt diving, it looks like they've gone for the short 19, as have Vos Vind as well. Seems to be more and more popular for teams nowadays, especially in the tunnel ray.
Yeah, no, very much so. And I think I remember when I was training as well, towards the latter years, it was much more of an option that you would train that 90 because it was just it lent itself so well to many other.
And you have to learn the finish, though, right? You've got to learn that, and it's a slightly different block. I had a chat with Blue Steel. We went for standard because they weren't current with the short 19.
Okay.
So that's a gap in my training plan, Ray, there. So I'm going to make sure the guys are more current before the next competition with that particular block.
Yeah, it definitely does feature more and more these days from what I've seen.
Yeah, it keeps the skydive a little bit more round, a little bit more centered. It does give memory for the point and outside center, but you get the payoff.
Yeah, but point and outside centre are pretty used to the memory, you would have thought, if the more experienced teams are out there doing it. So
more and more teams now, when they're in point and outside centre, they'd call it double A, as in they know both slots equally well.
So Simon Brentford has just joined us on the live stream, actually, and we were just talking about you a few minutes ago, Simon, with that question you had today about the top camera. It's the same camera, but they've been looking after the optics, putting some perspex in place to keep that safe. And Pete Mather says, good morning all, G to K. He hates that as well.
Thanks, Pete. Backing me up there.
Yeah. Nice one, Pete. Nice to hear you joining us this morning.
It's great to see Simon on the live stream as well. I should say hi to Simon. I do miss him, Mr. Brentford. Next up, we have the Vos Vind girls are getting ready for their round.
Yeah, and they got grown-up engineering as well. They got short 19 into the 7, so really good to see how these girls do with this. They got the memory aspect of it. Let's see if they can keep their communication together.
Yeah,
they scored a 16, I believe, wasn't it?
I'm just having a quick look. Yeah, 16 on round.
Was that
6.
clean?
Just going to have a quick look.
No, there's a bust. Point 10. Yes. Yeah. All right, girls. So no bust, please, on this round. Keep it clean and fast.
Yes, please. Let's see what they've got.
Okay, block 7 coming through the door. Here we go. Block 7. There's the G, the K, as we talked about. 19. Oh, they forgot who was going over under. And that's going to... Oh, they took the... Hang on. They were walking something different.
Yeah, taking the standard...
That's kind of interesting. I thought I saw them walking the other engineering. They were. So now that's a bust. They didn't rotate. They are completely lost, Ray.
Yeah,
they are so lost because they walked the short 19.
They've flown
but they flew
standard
with
19.
that collision. They've got completely lost on the skydive. I'm really sorry to see this, girls. This wasn't the way you were supposed to do this round. It does mean there is a gap in their preparation, though.
There is, yeah. And I'm sure Dennis will have some words. But, they're smiling about it,
That's all you can do now. The fire is there. It's been put out, hopefully. You've got to move on to the next round.
I know how they feel. I was there yesterday.
Yeah, that resetting, that refocusing, you've got to do it in an instant. You make a mistake in the tunnel, there is no time to cry about spilt milk. You have to be moving on to the next point.
Just let it go. They're still smiling as they're walking out the tunnel, so
exactly.
It's all good.
Vos Vind girls, just reset, get on for the next round. Forget about that one.
Next in, the NFTO girls just having a word about their speed.
Speed change, yeah. And that's really important, you know, a team, if they get any kind of surprise with regards to the airspeed as they get through the tunnel, that's going to be a real shock to them. That could really upset the beginning of the round. So good job, girls, making sure that your speed is set. So 7GK, nice job, Jules, into the K. And then we've got the short 19. There you go, beautiful. That's how it should be done. Watching NFTO give us a real good look at how that dive should be engineered and executed.
Looks really nice. It's as if they've trained it.
Yeah, I think they're probably current with that move.
Yeah.
See how short the end of that, keeping that really round.
Yeah, very much
It
so.
is, you know, we talked about the move from the G to the K rate. It can get too straight, can't it?
It can do,
and
yeah.
that leaves a tail out in the middle of nowhere. But these girls are keeping it quite nicely cheated, allowing things to stay round. This has gone from a dive that could be very long, very awkward, into a slightly round, although that last B slot K was a little too straight, girls.
Yeah. Good job, NFTO. They look really pleased with that as well.
Yeah. A little bit of high-fiving as you come out. Never a bad thing.
No.
Means you've had a good time.
It's always good. Now we've got the Wimby, Niftis Wimby getting ready in the tunnel. They would have seen that they've scored one up on NFTO.
Some confidence there, I'm thinking.
Exactly, I think so. I saw them first thing this morning. I'm like, what are you girls going to give us today? Make it strong.
All right, so we're guessing they're going to go with the same engineering that we've seen so far. Obviously, it looks a little bit different because they... Oh, different G, was that?
Different G, yeah.
Okay, short 7. Different G. Whoa.
Is that the Russian G?
Très intéressant. Very nice. Thank you, girls, for that one.
That's very cool. Oh, yeah, there's going to be a bus there.
All right, yeah, we're a little bit lost watching some... I mean, not only is it mirrored for Ray and I to be watching, but we're looking at some very elaborate engineering. And I don't know if it's working, to be honest.
I don't think it's working for them.
Maybe it would at the end of a year's training, but they've only got a few hours of training together.
Exactly.
And it's a very brave step that Pamela's got them on for this particular
I think if
round.
they had like 55 seconds,
they'd be great.
they would be great. And you're right.
And what Ray means by that is that they would have learnt those moves.
Exactly.
Yeah, because some of these moves, they may be only done for the first time.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, they're learning. Again, another forming stage.
Yeah, interesting stuff there. It's great to see you guys really picking into that and seeing that different G. It really did mix it up a little bit for you.
Yeah, getting into the nuts and bolts of these last couple of rounds from a commentator standpoint has been keeping us sharp, right?
you can hear when there's silence on the live stream because we're trying to figure it out.
What's going on.
A good shot here, guys.
Inside the tunnel, yeah. So it's Windoor Angels right now we're looking at, a team from Spain. Got a couple of teams from Spain. There were 4 teams last year battling out at Spanish Nationals here. This year we just got Papaya and Windoor Angels.
It's great to see the teams when they're not only flying, but how they're looking. That's one of the benefits we have in the tunnel that we don't get in the sky, Pete. You don't get these faces during and after and before. But here we go. Back to the action. The wind speed increases. It's day 2 of Wind Games 2020, the 7th edition. And in the studio with the commentary, Ray Ahmed and Pete Allen.
So next in the tunnel now, we've got Real Fly Fire. They had a little bit of a few glitches. And on the previous round, this is again because it had the slot switcher in it, they're a AA team that have come up into AAA. So they're learning what they're doing. And they would have had a few glitches on that. But this is potentially straight up for them. We'll have a look at what they've got.
Yeah, let's see what kind of engineering these guys go for. Okay, close the 19. Yeah, so they're taking the longer move into the 7. That was the one that the Vosvin girls did by mistake.
Yeah. But they seem comfortable with it.
Yes, I think for these guys, this is the right thing. Gets them out of the memory side of things, which keeps the dive, you know, it's not the easiest of dives. It's a little awkward, as we said, for some of the random builds. Yeah. But at least it keeps point and tail in their home position. And for a team who's just made that jump into AAA from AA, where all the slot switcher blocks start to happen, that's probably the right choice.
Yeah, you don't want to, just when you're moving into slot switches, you probably don't want to add one into your round.
Unless you've got a real long game ahead.
Exactly.
But no, you can't. I mean, at a competition like this, forget the long game. You want to put your best show on.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. Especially when you're on show to the whole world and everybody is watching.
And although this is not a national or world kind of competition, it's recognized by the competitors, by skydivers, by tunnel flyers as one of the very top competitions on the planet in this discipline.
I know, I do love it. It's been here since, what is it, 7 years now? It's the
7 years
year.
of learning and forming and storming.
Exactly.
And right now, and they're bringing out new stuff each year. So they don't rest on their laurels. They're always trying to improve, whether it be judging, whether it be the event itself.
Exactly. And I've loved like competing here, but commentating, competing in a different discipline here. It's been fantastic.
So pretty much straight engineering from Windoor Angels. Looks like they're taking the long move into the 7, keeping everything standard, keeping everyone in their A slots.
Yes.
There we go.
And this is very, very much what they did for the last round as well, trying to keep it simple, lock it down. And it worked well for them in the previous round. They scored 17, and it looks like they're doing the same.
It does, yeah. And seeing Roy there in outside center, just recently flew with him. He came and joined us on, did some coaching with him without his team. Really nice to fly with him.
Yeah, that's great. And they'll be really pleased with that.
I think so, yeah. They look pretty consistent the whole way through that round. It looks like Team Equinox getting ready. There we go, Team Equinox, the team from Lithuania, which you bravely attempted to pronounce all their names yesterday, Ray.
I might try it again tomorrow,
I
maybe.
thought it was my turn to do that.
Yeah, Pete.
Yeah, when I got more time. Okay. All right, so let's see what Equinox have to offer. I'm guessing standard, but let's see. Okay, G into the K. 19, we'll see as soon as this block closes, we'll get an idea. There we go, standard engineering team from Lithuania. So again, they're not a very experienced team. They're using this as a stepping stone for the rest of their year. Almost went past that 19, got the inside center a little bit out of balance.
It's not a nice place to be. And I think, I was thinking about various engineering and moves, but it really does depend upon the team, doesn't it? And where you are.
Completely. And, just talking about inside center there, we divide the 4 positions into roles. We've got point, outside center, inside center, and tail. And they're each quite different from each other.
Very much so. I've always been through the years a front piece person, so the outside center and the point, they get a little bit more of the slot switches, I guess, to a certain extent. More of the, you could say, bigger moves, like, the thingy moves. But, the back piece has a different job, Pete, which, inside center has to be very solid, command the center, make sure they're seeing everything. And the tail flyer gets some really funky moves.
I love tail. I spent a few years on the Italian team in tail, and that was so much fun.
Why, Pete?
Why Italian?
No, but why the tail slot? Is it something that...
It's just a lot of movement. You got a lot of grips. You get to see a bunch. Gives you neck a rest as well from point. I did point for about 25 years. So.
Had enough.
Yeah.
So in the tunnel now, we've got standby.
3 Italians and the Ukrainian, and they've also gone for standard engineering. It is right-hand door engineering, which we explained yesterday was kind of a holdback from the exit. So if you have teams that are also flying outside, they're going to maintain their engineering so that they're training for that as well.
Yeah, you don't want to disrupt. I mean, I've seen it once, I think, because it lent itself well to the dive. But in general, if you are or you have flown outdoor as well as indoor, you're going to want to keep the same continuity.
Having said that, there was a couple of changes in the past where we changed our continuity to match the aircraft.
Okay.
We didn't really like that, so we then, at the end of the day, when we got to a right-hand door, to a Pilates exit, we would just do the funky exit switch.
Okay, right.
Okay, 3 boys and 1 girl. We know now that one of the team members is on the French female team, so Thomas has stepped in.
Makes a great girl, Thomas.
Does, looking good.
Very tall girl. And yes, they got 17 on round 6, and they're currently still fighting out. They're fighting out with the Real Fly Fire.
Gone for that funky G.
Yeah.
And the short, there we go, the short 19, keeping the 7 nice and round.
The short 19 is something that I definitely, I think will come up quite a lot. We'll see that from some of the...
Yeah, and you got to finish it short. So right there, the team, well, they almost went back in front. Okay.
I guess it's hard to remember as well, and it's your muscle memory. You've got to have really, as you said earlier, Pete, you've got to really practiced it, and the team have to be comfortable with it and know the difference between the two.
We just lost some points there. Oh, no, actually, it was out of time. Sorry, guys. Yeah, 35 seconds was done and dusted. A little bit confusing for these guys, but it was out of time, I'm hoping. Yeah. So let's hope that Morley and the team, 3 goals, 3 guys, and 1 3 boys and 1 girl, are happy that it was out of time. Okay, blue steel from Finland, Matthew, Jora, Otto, and Nadia. 3 of these guys were on the Finnish team at different times. Otto is the new one, the guy with a pink helmet. And let's see, well, I know what engineering they've chosen, unless they usurp me. Let's see how they get on.
Would anybody do that to you?
Yes, of course.
Well, brave.
All right, so we're going to see a slightly longer build into the 7, keeping things in standard slots. So we'll see those helmet colors. Nadia a little bit straight on that K build. We talked about that before with some of the other teams. Easy to get too straight on that K. Same thing again there. And it just shuts Jora in the green helmet out a little bit from the K into the...
That was a nice K build.
Oh, yeah, into the 19. So it gave them a little bit of a glitch. That's something we're going to be talking about on the meet debrief. Just keeping the geometry correct of the random slightly better there for that
It's
last
consistency,
game.
I guess, right? For the geometry that you're really looking for. It's to make sure that it's in the same place.
Yeah, you don't want surprises, you know, especially as Tao. If you get locked out from the center, you got to try and find your way back in then from the 19. And as we know, block 19 is driven from the tail. The tail has got it all to do there.
And here we have Windoor Black Mantis.
How did they get on their last round?
They scored 19 on their last round. Just trying to see if they got any.
Blue Steel had a 20,
Yeah.
Windoor Black Mantis, and Out of the Blue an 18.
Yeah, so we're seeing some changes at this leaderboard. So Windoor Black Mantis, Blue Steel, and Papaya are still finding it out. You know, just 2 points in it. And I'm just having a quick look. Yeah, so Windoor Black Mantis did get 1 bust on the previous round.
So these guys are going for the shorter 19 and the slot switch. Nice K build so far, guys.
A bit of a reach there on the 19.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the dive looks quite different from team to team, depending on the engineering that they choose.
Yeah.
Sometimes the dive's going to look it round like it does now, and sometimes it's going to get a little bit long.
It looks a little, the 19 on the front piece looks a little bit hesitant.
It does, yeah. It looks like the point is, I think what they're doing is they're thinking about their positioning for the end of the block into this 7.
Rather than concentrating on the top of the block.
Get through and stop, exactly. Although there, you know, the point fly maybe went a little bit too far. I think they'll be happy with that, right?
They look really pleased with that.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to look at the predictive score.
Me too.
They looked happy. And here next in we should have the Lucky Boys.
Team from Hungary, very proud. They got the national flag painted on their cheeks. Obviously very happy to be representing their country here. The only Hungarian team. Nice to see a bit of pride there in.
Yeah. I wonder if any British teams would do that today. Maybe not.
Today especially, Ray.
That's why I brought it up.
Okay, so interesting finish shape to the 7, leaving the G a very short move there for outside center. And then they're taking the long move, see that, from the end of that? So interesting, different engineering from Lucky Boys. They've got the standard kind of long move into the 7, but leaving outside center inside in front of inside center for the G. Have a look at that. So
yeah, it looks kind of sticky to me.
It looks short but sticky. It looks like they're not allowed to get that momentum going that they could get. They've obviously chosen a kind of a mixture.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, we're looking at the longer move that we're talking, the more standard move from the close the 19 as the outside centre would just swing out of it. But the energy takes you in the right way.
Exactly.
Here, this just looks, as you're right, it's short, but it just holds you back a little bit.
I don't know if it works. And also that front pair was rotating so much that the tail just had to keep coming around to pick them up.
It didn't have any flow.
Correct.
That's what I would describe it as.
Okay.
Out of the blue.
Ralph, Mandy, Mechi, and Butt.
See, I think you're cheating a little bit without pronouncing the surnames, Pete. I've noticed this.
I'm working my way up, Ray.
Okay, they're getting ready. Hopefully they'll have a better round. They didn't have the best round 6.
Do we have scores? Yeah, we did. We out of the blue. Oh, yeah, 18.
18. I think they might have had a few busts in there. Just have a quick look. Nope, clean. But they did have a glitch.
19. I wasn't paying attention. Engineer. There we go. So they're taking the short engineering. Short 19, leaving memory for point and outside center. Tail pair doing their standard thing. They're the machine on this. Need to be consistent, keeping the pace calm. They may feel ahead of the game. They've just got to make sure that point and outside center are on board for the flow for the rest of the meet. This is looking a nice round for them.
This is nice. This is back to out of the blue that I know.
Clean. Yeah, bit of flow, good communication.
Really good, on and off the grips. Just nice to see. Really good.
I think they're going to feel like they're back, and they look like it. Just look at their faces now, Ray. Yeah. Looks like they feel like they're back on board.
Exactly. in a very different level. They've had an up and down meet, similar to that of Hayabusa that we mentioned earlier, but just a different level. You know?
And today is when Hayabusa get their act together, I believe.
Yes, yes, definitely so. Next in we have Papaya, the Spanish team.
Getting into the tunnel and engineering. Let's see what the team from Spain, the Spanish military team, have to offer.
So they scored 19 on round 6 and are still battling it out with Blue Steel. And Blue Steel.
Okay, so we've got the kind of pretty, what we're seeing is a standard engineering right now, which is the short 19 and into the round 7.
It's interesting when I watch the 19 here. You can see a little bit of that push from the inside centre to the outside centre to get them going.
Yeah.
I used to hate that.
Yeah. It can put you got to be ready for it, for sure.
Exactly.
Oh, talking about push, there was some momentum there that didn't really help for the build of the 19. And that was a bit of a breakdown, but it's out of time, guys. No worries.
That's not a problem.
As we said yesterday, the clock starts as the first foot leaves the door. And then you have 35 seconds to show the judges how many points you can fit in time. The points are decided. They come from a pool of 22 blocks and 16 randoms. And you have a maximum of 6 points, 5 or 6 points per round that you have to fly in a certain order.
So next in we have Oceanside Atomics. They scored 19 also on that round and currently mixing up without the blue. There's 3 points between them. I think they had a pretty solid round 6.
Okay.
And here we go.
Okay, very straight K, 19. So we're going to see now end of the 19. Yep, as we thought. So all of these top teams are going to be taking that as an option, I think.
I believe so.
Which gives the memory element of it, but keeps the skydive nice and small for the tunnel. Block 19 used to be a bit of a nightmare for many teams in the tunnel because, as you can see, the end of Block 19, it has three body lengths. Watch this. Start of Block 19, end of Block 19, you've got 3 body lengths, which can make for very tight fit for some teams inside the tunnel.
These guys are making it look really good, though, right?
I'm loving it.
Vertical.
Really enjoying watching them, yeah.
It's really good to see. I'm wondering, following, if we're going to see any more of those funky ends. I'd like to, not the funky ends, sorry, the funky Gs.
No, I'm wondering if it was because of the mirror element of it. I might have been a little bit lost there with that as well. I look forward to checking up at the end of the day and hopefully correcting what we were seeing there. Wimby Unicorns, I'm loving watching these guys this meet.
Yeah, they didn't. It was a bit glitchy on their round.
Their round 6 this morning wasn't so good for them.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to
23 keeps them in play.
Yeah, so tied, I think, after round 6 with IFS Moscow. So IFS Moscow moved
there
up,
we go.
right?
IFS Moscow and Wimby Unicorns are locked tight, 178 each, right, engineering-wise. End of the 19, short 7, GK 19. GK, so Drew will be feeling strong going into this round from the Golden Knights. Seeing those initials there, making him feel some pride.
Yeah. I mean, we did see, it's looks pretty good. Not as, feels like it's got more flow and more, not as sticky as our last round.
No, that was a really tight finish on the 19, but no hesitation. No. Just moving on and getting on with it, guys. Really nice to see from some newer teammates here. So Federico, he's the new guy on the team and doing an amazing job. Have to say, I still didn't get a chance to see him and say what a good job he's doing. Maybe I'll wait till the end of the comp. Let him focus on what he's doing for now. Team Echo Chamber from Sweden.
Yeah, they scored 21 on round 6. Currently out there, as you said earlier, Pete, on their own, fighting their own battle, doing with their own goals.
Yeah, Matthias, player coach on this team. He's very much respected in Scandinavian skydiving. He was on the Norwegian team for some time as well. Oh dear, that was a very glitchy build to the G. Okay, so they're taking the memory out.
So it's like the, as they're going through the competition, they're maybe just lost a little bit of focus there. Hopefully they'll lock it down now for this page.
And a different G.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're bringing the tail in from the 7, watch this, tail from the 7 in to inside center, and that's what caused that glitch. So it keeps things nice and round, but, so what they're doing here, for me, it's the worst of both worlds. Yeah. They have a different G, which they didn't look confident with, and they have the long move into the 7 from the end of the 19. Yeah. So I get the decision, and after 3 or 4 pages, they were making that G look good, but it didn't work for them on page 1, and they lost time on the 7 build.
disrupts the rhythm, as you say, you know, and
Yeah.
you want to start ramping it up. So, yeah, it's an interesting decision.
And that may have worked outside,
Yes.
funnily enough, because that first page will be on the hill when you got a bit more time. But in the tunnel, doesn't work, guys.
But as you said, they've been practicing for the outside, right?
Exactly, so, yeah.
That would make a lot of sense.
And then you can justify that decision and also the performance of it as
Of
well,
course.
maybe, to learn from.
So now we have ISR Fire Flash in the tunnel.
Yeah, GK19, expecting to see the short. There it is. And so standard engineering for most teams for this round. Really, that straight K is hurting the tail.
Yeah,
They need to be ready for the 19, guys, and keeping that K straight is not going to help them to be ready and have the power they need to blast over the point.
Yeah, as you said, the tail is a powerhouse on block 19, and we really need to have the tail flyer on it and ready to go. So ISI Fire Flash doing a good job making this work. Just a little bit of wide 19 there.
Okay, yeah, so ISR Fireflash competition with Moscow, and they're kind of locked in a battle right now. So we got Fireflash and Fireflash and Unicorn, and we've got Unicorns and Moscow locked in a tight battle. SDC Rhythm getting ready in the chamber right now.
Yeah, their round 6 was a bit sticky. It's the best way to describe it with the engineering that they took, I think, for that.
Yeah, I don't know if it worked for them, have to say. I'm really impressed with everything so far from these guys, but round 6 kind of not what we were expecting.
Yeah, so here we go. Let's see what we've got.
P7, so that's different as well. First team we're seeing with the P7s. We did say that was an option. So it was a P7 launch. Throw away the launch like you would from an aircraft.
Yeah.
And they're hoping to have saved time for that first transition. After that, everything looks pretty normal with regards to the other teams. Engineering-wise, they've got the short 19 and the round 7s.
It's looking good.
It is working well for them. Little interesting start, but I think it seems to have worked out well for them.
No, this is a really good round for
No,
them.
they've found some rhythm again there.
Yeah.
Nice name.
Very good name. This is really good.
All right, we're out of time now. It looked like some of the grips were looking very close in the middle of the 7.
Agreed.
Let's see what the judges have to say about that. Remember, the predicted score that you see on the side, Ray and I are trying not to look at that because that is not the final score. What we're waiting for is the judges' call.
So let's see if IFS Moscow can keep the momentum going with this round.
Yeah, let's see what they got to answer.
I do love watching these guys fly. I did get a couple of smiles out of them yesterday, Pete.
You said that, and it wasn't wind.
No, it was a hello.
Nice. All right, so Moscow, really nice round on the last round, round 6. Let's see how they match up on this round, round 7. Engineering, as we expected. So far, only Rhythm going with that P7 out the door, thinking that it's a quicker start for them. Interesting choice. I like that.
Yeah. So these guys are in a tight battle, obviously tied at the moment with the Unicorns. The Unicorns had a really good round 7. So let's see.
So far, they're looking good. I'm not seeing busts. Doesn't mean they're not happening. I'm just not seeing them here from the commentator's seat.
Yeah, I'm still confused by a lot of that. It just looks so mechanical.
Clean and mechanical.
Well, yeah.
And this round looks like that right now.
Yeah, it does.
Looked like very little change of pace from entrance through to 35 seconds clicking up. They should look happy, mate. Let's see. Yep. No.
Maybe. That's a little bit of a smile.
That's about as much as you're going to get. All right, Arizona Airspeed.
They look.
Getting ready in the chamber. There's Captain Nicholas. He's bringing a wealth of experience as a competitor and a coach.
Yeah, they looked on fire in that last round. And the scores are in for round 6. They scored 29.
They had fun, huh? They're having fun this whole competition.
This is nice. Here we go.
So pretty looked like they had that tail coming to
into the
inside center.
K.
There we go.
G.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so tail stepping in to inside center for the G move.
Yeah.
We've seen a couple of teams do that. It does keep it more round. We saw Echo Chamber do it not quite as smoothly as they were hoping on the first page. They learned how to do it. Airspeed, however, are nailing it.
They're making it look like it's a standard move, standard random.
And it keeps the inside center really, really tight for the K. We're talking about the straighter Ks.
Yeah.
You don't get that with this one.
No, you don't. And this is, as I said, it's a masterclass in showing you how it should be done.
Beautiful round, Airspeed.
Really
So
nice.
Arizona airspeed there, showing us how it's done on 7GK19, and they're justifiably, look at those grins, ladies and gentlemen. They had an awesome round. Very nice to see.
Really nice. Really nice. And Hayabusa, next into the tunnel, they also scored 29 on round 6. So they maintain that 5-point lead over airspeed.
5 points. It's not that much. There are one or two. There's one more round where you could make up a big difference in the competition, but that's going to happen tomorrow, girls and boys. Let's see what they've got. Very quick start. So they didn't need a throwaway 7. They just came out and blasted into the round 7 as fast as possible.
I didn't even see it, to be honest.
Well, you can start scoring before the last
Yeah.
person has left the door, and they did that on this one right now. We talked about that in the judges' room at the beginning. Is that legal? Yes, it is. The clock starts as that first foot leaves the door.
It's looking good.
You saw a little bit of heard some silence there as Ray and I gobsmacked as to what we're seeing right now. Let's see if they can match airspeed with regards to speed.
I think they can.
It's close, Ray. It's going to be really close.
Oh yeah, I'll have to see. It looks super fast, and they both look really quick. Both flying with confidence, and I didn't see any glitches. But what do we know?
What do we know? So quite a bit, actually. That's why we're in this job.
Not at that speed necessarily, maybe.
All right, so I'm really intrigued as to how Airspeed are going to take their indoor game outside. Are they going to challenge Hayabusa?
Oh, we shall see. Let's have a look at the results from the VFS so far.
Nice, okay. Oh, that changed things just a little bit. Okay, so for those of you out there, Full Speed scored a 26, putting them 4 points up on Esercito. Was it a bust, Ray? Do we know? We're going to find out, going to look at some statistics and figure out what's going on. Windoor team doing good?
Yeah.
So you think you're gonna check that out and just see what happened there?
Yeah,
just
so
gonna
right
have a
now we're
quick
going to
look
have a
for
look at the
bus.
VFS statistics.
Yeah.
What